all to the day 167 of our series, and in today's session we are going to continue our learning based on pronouns. So let's get started, and here is your yesterday's task. You were supposed to complete these proverbs. So first is better late than never. Next is better safe than sorry. You are only young once. Next is let sleeping dogs lie. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes a person perfect. Next is two heads are better than one. Better than one. Next is no news is good news. The end justifies the means. Justifies the means. And next is two wrongs don't make a right. Don't make a right. Next is lightning never strikes twice. Strikes twice. Next is prevention is better than cure. And last one is an eye for an eye. For an eye. Or a tooth for a tooth. Next is, here again you were supposed to write proverbs in front of these statements. So he works on his English for 3 hours every day. That means practice, and mind the spelling of practice. You must not write P-R-A-C-T-I-S-E because that would be the verb form. So practice makes perfect. Next is, shall we work on this problem together? Because two heads are better than one. Heads are better than one. Next is, when she finishes university, she wants to travel around Europe. Because you are only young once. You are only young once. Next is, I would always go to my family for help before asking friends. Because blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. Next one is, he went to hospital over 3 hours ago, but we haven't heard anything. So no news is a good news. No news is a good news. And next is, why does he get a seat first? Just because he owns lots of companies. Money talks. Because money talks. Next is, if he takes my exercise book, I'll take his dictionary. So it would be two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Next is, they finally got here but they missed the first part. So it would be better late than never. Better late than never. Now for the next question, I have to clean my screen first. And now coming to the ninth question. We don't share the same opinions on things, but I just accept it. Because live and let live. Live and let live. Next is, it is a very sensitive subject with Emily. Should I say something? And it would be, let sleeping dogs lie. Let sleeping dogs lie. Next is, she doesn't seem to see her husband's fault. Because Love is blind. And you cannot be wise and in love at the same time. Next is, after what he did to me, I'll get my revenge. So an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye. Well, now let's move to the next exercise, and here you were supposed to write proverbs similar to the meaning of these given statements. First is, accept other people's opinion and ways of life even if they differ from yours. So live and let live. Next is, it is easy to talk about something but a lot harder to do something about it. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. Next is, two people working together can achieve more than one. So it would be, two heads are better than one. Next is, if you have a bad experience, you don't want something like it to happen again. Shy. Once bitten, twice shy. Once bitten, twice shy. Next is, family relationships are stronger than other relationships. That means blood is thicker than water. THAN. Than water. Last one is, if someone does something bad to you, you won't improve things by doing something bad to them in return. So it would be, two wrongs don't make a right. So now let's move to our today's last exercise, and here it is. You were supposed to complete the sentences. He is pretty well off, and as they say, money talks. He gets what he wants. Next one is, I'm still waiting to hear from the hospital, but I guess that dash news is so. No news is a good news. Next is, don't get into another row with the neighbors. Just let sleeping dogs fly. Just let sleeping dogs fly, or just bury the hatchet. Bury the hatchet. Both of the proverbs mean the same. Next is, if you want to come camping with us next week, please do. Means please do come there with us. The more the merrier. Next is, don't forget to lock the doors when you leave. Better late. Oh wait. Better safe. Better safe than sorry. Because here we are talking about safety. Next is, it is hard to find a seat in the library. It is first come, first served. First come, first served, so get there as early as possible. Next is, my driving is gradually improving and I'm a bit safer, so I guess practice. Practice makes perfect. And last one is, she only rings me at New Year. It is a case of out of sight and out of mind. So this was your yesterday's task. Now let's move to the pronouns. As we were discussing earlier, we have already done the first part in our previous session, the subjective and the objective cases of pronouns. We are already done with that. Now let's come to the next part, and that is possessive pronouns. So now first tell me that what do you understand by this word possession? Possession means to have ownership. Possession and the possessive words are those words which show the ownership. Ownership, or I would say the control. The control of somebody over a particular thing. So this is known as possession, and the pronouns that show the ownership are known as possessive pronouns. So now let's move forward and add one more column to our previously existing table. First column was subject pronouns, second column was on object pronouns, and third one is based on possessive but not pronouns. Mind the usage of words here. It is not possessive pronouns, it is possessive adjectives. Well, we are going to do possessive pronouns, but that we will do later. So here is this column, and here these words are known as possessive adjectives, like my, your, and his from him, and her remains the same. Its from it, and our from us, your from you, and their from them. Mind the spelling of this word there. There is a huge difference between there there and their there. It is obviously possessive case, and there it represents some kind of place, like here, there. Now let's move forward towards its usage. First of all, let's understand, or I would say let's revise what are adjectives. Well, we have already discussed earlier that adjectives are the words that are placed just before the noun, and these words give us some additional information about nouns, and the position must be on adjacent part, means one after the other. So here we are discussing about possessive adjectives, means those adjectives which show possession over something, and these are those possessive adjectives. And whose, this is also a kind of possessive adjectives which was, well, missing from this table, but still we are discussing this as well. Whose is also a possessive adjective, which we are going to discuss later. But now let's have a look at this example first. I'm looking after her dog. So first of all, let's evaluate this phrasal verb look after. So look after means to take care. To take care. And here the sentence means that I am taking care of her dog. Now, dog is a noun, and the word placed just before this word dog represents the adjective, and because it is also representing the possession over this dog, that's why it is called as possessive adjective. It is our possessive adjective. Now let's move to the next example. She likes your hat. Here hat is our noun, and the possession on this hat is shown by this word your. So your becomes our adjectives, and because it is showing the possession, that's why it is our possessive adjectives, because it sits just before the noun. Next is that Queen's hat? Here the question is asked that is that Queen's hat, and your response would be no, it's her crown, and there is one more word for crown, that is tiara. So it is her tiara or it is her crown. Here this word her, it just sits just before the noun, that's why it is going to be our adjective, and because it is showing the possession over the noun, that's why it is our possessive adjective. Now let's have a look at the other examples. It is Tom's house, and here house is our noun, and this word Tom's, this word is showing the possession over this house, that this house belongs to Tom. So we can also write this as like it is his house. Here his is our possessive adjective. Next example is it is Suzanne's car. Here car is our noun, and the possession, the ownership of this car is in the hands of Suzanne. So we can also use her instead of using Suzanne, instead of using proper noun. Now let's move forward, and here in this column you are given with these subject pronouns as we have discussed earlier many a times. Now let's move direct to the possessive adjective situation, and here you will notice that just before every noun one adjective word is given. So my shirt is green. Here shirt is our noun, and this shirt belongs to whom? It is defined by this word my, so my is going to be our possessive adjective. Next is your book is new. Here book is noun, and the word which sits just before this word noun is our adjective form. Next is pillow. His pillow is soft. Again pillow is our noun, and whose pillow is that? His pillow, and this word his is our possessive adjective. Next is dog is our noun, and her is our adjective because it is showing the possession on this noun dog. Next is its bone is old. So bone is our noun, and whose bone we are talking about? Its. It refers to some kind of animal. We usually use it for representing an animal. Next is, our bird is noisy. Bird is noun and our is possessive adjective. Your house is big. House is again noun and your works as adjective, possessive adjective. And the last one is, their car is slow. Car is noun and there is acting as possessive adjective here also. Now let's move forward. And here are some common mistakes which usually students do while writing possessive adjectives. The very first mistake they do is its. Well, there is a huge difference between these words, it apostrophe s and its. The first one is the contracted form, or I would say that shrunken form of it is. But the second one is, okay, it is as well as it has. It has, but the second one is possessive case, or I would say possessive adjective. And here this example is given that a country can be judged by the quality of its proverbs. And here is the tip. Well, by now we don't know whether it is true or not, whether it is correct or incorrect. Sorry, whether it is correct or incorrect, but we have a tip. If this contracted form can be expanded in the form of it has, well, it is written here in the form of it is or it has, and it would be grammatically correct even after expanding. In that case it is correct, or otherwise it would be incorrect. So a country can be judged by the quality of, let's expand this, it is and it has. So now let's apply this tip. By the quality of it is proverbs. Well, it doesn't make any sense. And the quality of it has proverbs. Again, it is not making any sense. That means it is wrong here. So the correct version would be quality of its without any apostrophe. Now let's move to the next part. Well, here is the second common mistake which usually students do. The first is, there are two forms of your. First is y-o-u-r, your, and second one is y-o-u-r-e, and here is an apostrophe between u and re. So this second form is the contracted form of u-r, u plus r. And let's have a look at this example now. Even if you fall on your face, you are still moving forward. Here this contracted, or I would say this shrunken form, is given twice in this example. So now let's expand this you are. So if it still makes sense even after writing it in expanded form, that means our sentence is grammatically correct, otherwise it isn't. So if you fall on you are face, well, it doesn't make any relevance, it doesn't sound good. That's why we are assuming that it is the incorrect version and it would be your. Even if you fall on your face, not you are face. And second is you are still moving forward. Well, this one is correct here. So now you know how to detect or spot any kind of error in this type. Now let's move forward, and here comes the third error, third common mistake in the usage of these words. There, they are, it is the contracted form of they are. It is written here, they are. And last one is there. As I have already mentioned that there, this is the possessive case, or I would say possessive adjective, and there represents the place and it is the shrunken form. So now let's have a look at this example. Forgive your enemies but never forget their names. It represents place. But here in this statement there is no requirement of this word representing a place. Here we require the possessive case, like whose names. So this word is showing the ownership here, like whose names, their names, the names of those people. So that's why we are going to write THEIR here, not this there. And now here are some more examples given in this slide. It is explained in a bit more detail. So there, referring to a place as we have already discussed. Now let's directly move to the example. We went there for dinner last night. We went at that particular place for dinner last night. And the second example is, my keys are over there. means at that place. Next is they are, and the last one is their. So we went to their house for dinner, means we went to either our friend's house, friends or relatives house, and that noun is replaced by these adjectives like their dog ran away. Now let's move to this possessive case of whose. It is whose and it is who is, or you can also expand it like this, who has. So there is definitely a difference between whose and who is. Now let's have a look at these examples first. And here this example is given that never go to a doctor whose office plants have died. And here whose should be in this form. Whose office plants means the office plants of that particular doctor you are visiting to. So again here is given that whose is that coat. Here we are just asking about the possession of that coat, that who does this coat belong to, not who is that coat. That would be incorrect, because if you are going to expand this, that means completely different. That would be incorrect in its grammatical form. Next is it was a decision whose importance was not realized at that time. Again, whose is correct here, but we cannot write who apostrophe has s here. Next is, do you know anybody who's going to France in the next few days? Here by whose we mean that who is going to France. Therefore, it is correct. And here we must refrain ourselves from using the possessive case. Next is I have got a cousin who has, like who has never been to London. Here again this usage is correct, not the possessive case. So you have to be very careful while using these. Now let's move to our last segment, and that is a vocabulary segment. And in today's session we are going to learn some phrases for opening a letter, or you can also use these phrases while opening a email as your opening phrases of an email. The first one is I am writing to inform you that. Well, you have to mug up these phrases. आपको इनको रट लेना है अच्छे से, क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है ईमेल राइटिंग के केस में स्पेसिफिकली, क्योंकि फॉर्मल लेटर को आप ईमेल की तरह ले सकते हो, तो ईमेल राइटिंग में हमें यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आती है दैट हाउ टू स्टार्ट दैट पर्टिकुलर ईमेल. अब ऑब्वियसली वो बहुत फॉर्मल होनी चाहिए, दैट्स वाई वी आर राइटिंग एन ईमेल टू दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सन इन फर्स्ट प्लेस, है ना. अदरवाइज तो हम वैसे ही नॉर्मल मैसेज भी कर सकते थे, लेकिन अगर हम ईमेल कर रहे हैं इन दैट केस दैट शुड बी फॉर्मल, दैट मस्ट बी फॉर्मल. तो फॉर्मल के केस में ओपनिंग अगर हमें फ्रेजेस देनी है तो वो यहाँ से स्टार्ट होगी, जैसे आई एम राइटिंग टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट, कि मुझे आपको ये बताना है, इस वजह से मैं आपको ये ईमेल लिख रही हूँ यहाँ पे. या फिर फॉर्मल लेटर तो खैर आजकल इनकी जगह इनको रिप्लेस कर दिया है ईमेल्स ने. तो यहाँ देखिए ये हो जाएगा मीन्स इफ यू वांट टू गिव सम इंफॉर्मेशन, तो यहाँ पे आप इससे स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. और आगे यहाँ पे देखिए जो बोल्ड नहीं है, देखो बोल्ड में तो यहाँ पे गिवन है आई एम राइटिंग टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट, और नेक्स्ट है आगे कोई भी आप इन्फॉर्मेशन दे सकते हो, जैसे यहाँ पे गिवन है आई विल बी लिविंग एट द एंड ऑफ जून. नेक्स्ट है आई एम राइटिंग टू इन्फॉर्म यू ऑफ माई इंटेंशन टू टर्मिनेट माई लीज. अब यहाँ पे 2-3 वर्ड्स भी हैं, उनको भी देखेंगे. फर्स्ट वर्ड है ये इंटेंशन. इंटेंशन का वर्ब फॉर्म बन जाता है इंटेंड. इंटेंड मीन्स समथिंग दैट आई विश टू डू एंड आई डिजायर टू डू. आई वॉन्ट टू डू, that comes under this word intent, यानी कि मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ, ये मेरी प्लानिंग है, तो वहाँ पे उसका नाउन फॉर्म हो जाएगा इंटेंशन, कि मेरी इच्छा है ये. सो आई एम राइटिंग टू इन्फॉर्म यू ऑफ माई इंटेंशन, कि मेरी इच्छा ये है क्या, टू टर्मिनेट. अब टर्मिनेट यानी कि किसी चीज़ को एंड कर देना, किसी चीज़ को रोक देना, स्टॉप कर देना, और टर्मिनेट इज हाईली फॉर्मल वर्ड फॉर स्टॉप और एंड. सो टू टर्मिनेट यानी कि इसको ख़त्म कर देना. माई लीज. अब लीज क्या होता है? लीज एक फॉर्मल डॉक्यूमेंट होता है, जहाँ पे एक्चुअली एक फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट होता है, जहाँ पे जो पर्सन किसी के यहाँ रेंट पे रहने वाला है और उसके लैंडलॉर्ड के साइन होते हैं वहाँ पे, और वहाँ पे एक स्पेसिफिक सेट ऑफ रूल होते हैं जो दोनों पार्टीज को फॉलो करने होते हैं, तो उसको उस एग्रीमेंट को हम बोलते हैं लीज। एक ये है एक लीगल एग्रीमेंट होता है फॉर रेंटिंग अ प्रॉपर्टी। नेक्स्ट में आते हैं आई एम राइटिंग टू इंक्वायर वेदर, यानी कि अगर आपको कुछ चीज़ पूछनी है तो वहाँ पे आप ये यूज़ कर सकते हो टू इंक्वायर। कोई क्वेश्चन आपको पूछना है, कोई क्वेरी है आपकी, या फिर कोई आपको अगर रिक्वेस्ट भी करनी है, वहाँ पे भी आप ये यहाँ से स्टार्ट कर सकते हो। नेक्स्ट है, अब देखिए आपको कोई बुरी न्यूज़ देनी है सामने वाले को, तो इस तरह से आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हो अपने ईमेल को, आई रिग्रेट टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट समथिंग हैज़ हैपेंड। इस तरह से आप उनको कोई भी बुरी न्यूज़ दे सकते हो। और आप इसको इस तरह से भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हो दैट आई एम अफ्रेड to inform you that। इस तरह से भी आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हो इसको। लास्ट है, अगर आपको कोई गुड न्यूज़ देनी है तो वहाँ पे आप यहाँ पे ये यूज़ कर सकते हो, अफ्रेड की बजाय आई एम डिलाइटेड टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट। नेक्स्ट है, आई एम राइटिंग इन रिस्पॉन्स टू योर अपील फॉर एड इन समथिंग। अब यहाँ पे देखिए, यहाँ पे जो वर्ड है अपील, एक बार इसको देख लेते हैं। अपील यानी कि आप किसी पर्सन से कोई रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, कोई सिंसियर या फिर कोई अर्जेंट रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, किसी चीज़ की आपको हेल्प चाहिए, उसके लिए आप रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, तो वहाँ पे हम इस वर्ड को यूज़ करेंगे अपील। बहुत ही फॉर्मल वर्ड है ये यहाँ पे। और एड, एड मीन्स हेल्प, असिस्टेंस, और आई एम राइटिंग इन रिस्पॉन्स टू योर। और अगर आपके पास कोई ऐसी ईमेल आई है, किसी पर्सन ने आपसे कोई हेल्प मांगी है, तो वहाँ पे अगर आपको उसका रिस्पॉन्स देना है तो आप यहाँ से स्टार्ट कर सकते हो दैट आई एम राइटिंग दिस ईमेल इन रिस्पॉन्स ऑफ योर प्रीवियस ईमेल। नेक्स्ट है, प्लीज एक्सेप्ट माई सिंसियर कॉन्डोलेंसेज। अब यहाँ पे जो वर्ड है, पहले इसी को देखते हैं, कॉन्डोलेंसेज। ये हम तब यूज करते हैं व्हेन वी वांट टू शो आवर सिंपैथी टुवर्ड्स द अदर पर्सन, यानी कि हमारी सिंपैथी को, हमारी सहानुभूति को हम किसी और पर्सन के साथ में जोड़ना चाहते हैं, यानी कि अगर उनके साथ कुछ भी बुरा हुआ है। और कॉन्डोलेंसेज स्पेसिफिकली तब यूज होता है जब कोई किसी पर्सन की डेथ हो जाती है, तो वहाँ पे हम इस वर्ड को यूज करते हैं कॉन्डोलेंसेज। सिंसियर, अब यहाँ पे इस केस में जब हम कॉन्डोलेंसेज के साथ में सिंसियर यूज करते हैं तो यहाँ पे इसका मीनिंग हो जाता है कि मेरी जो ये कॉन्डोलेंसेज हैं, जो मेरी सिंपैथी है तुम्हारी तरफ, वो काफ़ी जेन्युइन है। मीन्स मुझे भी एक्चुअल में ऐसा फील हो रहा है, मैं भी बुरा फील कर रही हूँ, तो यहाँ पे सिंसियर मीन्स जेन्युइन। और प्लीज एक्सेप्ट, ऑब्वियसली अगर आपको कॉन्डोलेंसेज अगर किसी को देने हैं तो आप इसी तरह से स्टार्ट करोगे, प्लीज एक्सेप्ट माई सिंसियर कॉन्डोलेंसेज। और ये फ्रेज तो आपके बहुत जगह काम आती है। तो ये था हमारा आज का सेशन, और आपका टास्क ये रहेगा कि आपको जहाँ जहाँ कंफ्यूजन होती है, जिन जिन यूजुअल प्रोनाउंस और एडजेक्टिव्स में और जिन जिन कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड फॉर्म्स में, तो इनको लेके आपको और भी ज़्यादा एग्जाम्पल्स को सर्च करना है और नोट डाउन करना है, ताकि आप इस कंफ्यूजन को कंप्लीटली अवॉइड कर सको। सो गाइस, थैंक्स फॉर लिसनिंग एंड जस्ट कीप प्रैक्टिसिंग।